Welcome to Church Jams Now, the podcast where three former youth group kids and current music nerds deep dive into Christian music from the 90s and 2000s. I, of course, am your co-host, Kylan Savage. With me, as sometimes, is Dark TJ himself, Mr. Jonathan Hugendorn. How you doing, Hug?
Yes, here I am.
Right? It's like canonically you are Dark TJ, right? We established that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
This is a metal record episode.
That's right. It's too scary for TJ.
If we were covering Copeland, I'd be Jonathan again. But no, I'm here to commit all the evil deeds in TJ's name.
Perfect. So. I love it. And of course, we have beautiful producer Josh Olson.
Hey guys, I'm here to say that Texas is South, and I am qualified to make that statement because I am in Texas, and it is South.
Wow, yep. Big statement there.
Big news.
And people ever quote the name of that song to you growing up in Texas? Like when you met someone from outside Texas that was a part of the scene, to be like, "Oh, Texas is South."
No,
right?
I don't think I ever got that.
Pretty hilarious.
Did you?
I did, actually.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I say that because I heard that when I was a kid. I was like, that's really not funny. I'm just from there.
It's a song. Like, Nichols is money too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Man, y'all's friends were dumb. We were talking about Camus and existential art films. I don't know.
Fucking insufferable.
True. Yeah. No, I was mostly hanging out by myself. So we are doing a scary metal record. Why are we doing this, Josh?
Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, TJ is his off week. He's tending to his newborn child. And I know this is a record that you have talked about liking.
Is it a wish
personally?
Is it officially
a wish list? I don't think it's officially a wish list, but I know in our personal conversations you've talked about.
Can I actively make it a wish list record?
I mean, we haven't started talking about the record or even announced it yet. So yes, you can still get that in right now.
Got it in.
All right.
What are we talking about? I'm just gonna ask you questions to make you run the whole show.
Yeah. I'll just do everything.
And who are we? What are we
Kylan,
doing here?
We're a podcast where three former youth group kids and current music nerds talk about "Dear Love, a Beautiful Discord" by The Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So is it just based on our personal conversations that you chose this over another scary metal record?
Yeah, I know that you've mentioned this record a couple times. So, right. And I was like, this is one that I cannot see TJ enjoying at all, but Ever. I can see Dark TJ enjoying it.
That's true.
Why we are in the position we are in.
I love it. So can we get my least favorite part of the show out of the way? Let's just do the research. Wait. The last episode, did I say I loved it or I hated it? I'm doing a back and forth thing now. Have you noticed?
I think you liked it last time.
I think I liked it. Yeah, that's the worst part of the show.
But if it's a wish list record for you, I mean, I feel like you should like the research because you just want to learn more about a wish list record for yourself.
No, that's so boring, dude.
Dark TG will be the judge of that. I will present the research, and then he can decide as our objective bystander. Yes.
Shouldn't give Dark TJ power.
It's the last thing we want. Well, we've covered Devil Wears Prada on the show before for our Halloween episode where we did the zombie EP, which I will add that regular TJ enjoyed surprisingly,
nice.
To my surprise at least. So you know what?
Yeah,
you didn't need to be Dark TJ for that episode, but we're covering it for this episode. We do have Dark TJ. So to remind everyone, Devil Wears Prada is from Dayton, Ohio. Their career is from 2005 to the present. Members for this record are, and which is their first record, is vocals is Mike Haranica. Jeremy DePoster is on guitar and vocals. Guitar is Chris Ruby. Andy Trick is on bass. James Bainey is on keyboard and synth. And Daniel Williams is on drums, which I believe was like the classic lineup that went all the way to either Zombie EP or Dead Throne, one of those. Maybe James wasn't on Dead Throne, but I think Zombie might have been one of the last ones where it was the classic lineup all the way up there. Let's see. Oh, and of those two, of that six, Mike and Jeremy are the only ones currently in the band still after all these years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Fun fact. Isn't research fun, Kylan?
Yeah.
You learn stuff.
I learned so much. I don't remember. Wait, which two positions do those guys have in the band? I tuned
vocals and then guitar and vocals.
Ah. So the clean vocals? Vocalists. Is it the clean vocal guy and the screamy guy?
Jeremy's clean vocals and guitar, and then screams is Mike.
Cool.
Yep.
Screams is
Dear
Mike.
Love,
I want that as a
Screams
t-shirt.
is Mike. That
would be a Devil Wears Prada shirt, right?
Yep.
Or just like the name of a song. Screams is Mike.
Screams is Mike.
Screams is Mike. The album we're talking about is Dear Love, A Beautiful Discord, which was released August 22nd of 2006. So at the time of recording, it's 18 years old currently. Wow. It is their first LP. Now, 9 of the 11 songs are re-recordings from a 2005 demo called Patterns of a Horizon, which I did think was interesting that they chose to rename it something completely different, even though it's the same thing just with 2 additional songs. And they're like...
The 2 new ones are Texas is South and Dogs Can Grow Beards All Over.
That is correct.
See, this is why I don't like the research. I already did it all.
Wow, you already knew everything about it. Okay, you want to take it from here, Kylan?
Yeah, it's Spotify certified platinum. This album has 60,000 listeners per month, and remember we started this as a bit at one time. Was it the Sufjan episode? And that was the only one?
It was, yeah, it was.
Yeah. So fun fact, they named the band before the movie. The movie is actually a reference to the band. I don't know if you guys have seen The Devil Wears Prada, but it's pretty good. Starring Adrian Grenier and Meryl Streep.
Is it based on this album?
Yeah. It's actually a concept album about high fashion. Yeah.
Okay.
Was that Emily Blunt's first real starring, real on-screen role?
Movie gems now.
Yeah.
This is what happens when I give Kylan the research reins.
All right, I'm done. Okay.
Let's get back to the real thing. Labeled, this was on Rise Records. It was produced by Joey Sturgis, who has produced a lot of Devil Wears Prada, Before Their Eyes, Attack, Burn of a Day, Asking Alexandria, We Came as Romans, A Mice and Men, and Kylan Take It Back's first record.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I know that.
From what I could find on Discogs, Dear Love / Patterns of Horizon is his first credit. I think a friend had told me one time that I think that's kind of how he got his chops, was working with Prada, and that's how he kind of got into the scene. So
yeah, because he kind of became the scene metalcore producer for a while.
Yeah, definitely did a lot of those bands. And then charts and performance, it did not chart, unsurprisingly, since it's a debut record, and runtime is 11 songs at 39 minutes and 55 seconds.
Technically. And that songs.
Technically, yeah, we'll get into it. And that wraps up my research.
Great. That was super informative. Loved it.
So fun, right?
It was so much fun.
I'm always pro. I forget all the names. You guys will say a name of this producer or this editor or whatever, and you'll be like, yes, him. Yes. And then it's we've referenced him 20 times, and I don't remember that name at all.
I think we only talked about Joey Sturgis twice on the show for both Pradas. So
okay.
You're okay on this one.
Okay, so I know we did... I have no idea what I said, but I know on our Zombie EP episode, Josh, we talked about our familiarity with The Devil Wears Prada. So I'd like to shoot it over to Hoog. Talk to us about this band and this album. What's your connection with it?
Yeah, I would call myself a decently big Devil Wears Prada fan over the years. I think I first came into them. I went to go see them on a tour with Chiodos in 2007 or 2008, right after Plagues came out. So I bought the record there, and I think just as a adjacent to Under Oath band, just went to the door in Dallas. Awesome show, heaviest shit I'd ever seen at that point. Bought Plagues, still on the same CD. Became a huge
original
fan of that.
Cover of Plagues too, right?
Is that the one with the girl on it?
Yeah, because they re-release it, which has
Honestly,
the very Dave Quiggle artwork.
As we're talking, I'll try to find it here in a little bit.
What's the other one? Is it the Branches?
Yeah.
Okay. The purple branches?
Yep.
Or Roots or whatever?
Oh, that is a different record. They did... the new artwork has it does have leaves and foliage and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we got the original one. So
yeah, if you bought it back then, you definitely do.
Definitely, yeah. So went to go see them then, and kind of was a fan ever since, up and through Zombie, and dropped off after that for a while until honestly my wife got me back into them 6 years ago because their new stuff is so good. I
What
really
is their
lost
new
them.
stuff?
Was it Transit Blues or was it like the Act that got you
The
back in?
Act, I
The
think,
Act.
got me
Okay.
back into this. So I kind of missed them from like whatever came after Zombie through the Act. I know that's like a decade, but or almost 7 or 8 years. But honestly, like as much I still love Plagues, I still absolutely love With Roots Above, love Zombie, and I don't know, I kind of expect a lot of metalcore bands to kind of like fizzle or flatten out in the 2010s and then either like stop or come back and do the same shit when everybody gets nostalgic for it. But honestly, like their
right?
new stuff, man, they have really matured as a band. Like they've all really matured. I know there's only two original guys left, but like as musicians, singers, and as people, seem like really cerebral dudes, really technical musical players. Mike's vocals have gotten so interesting over the years. So I hadn't listened to this record in probably like 6 or 7 years though.
Oh, wow.
So going back to like the roots was pretty wild because they just sound so different now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this, I think I talked about it on the Zombie EP. Loved this record. I was like this record and then fully out on the band. I had no idea what they were doing, did not care,
You didn't listen to Plagues.
not at all.
Crazy.
It was, you know what? I think I was really turned off. I think they had around that time, the aesthetic of the scene was like leaning away from the more like sort of like Southern Gothic inspired into the more sort of like neon nostalgia kind of thing. Like, did they have a Reptar shirt? The Reptar from
Yeah.
Rugrats?
They really, I think, pioneered a lot of those like
They-
cartoony t-shirts.
Right.
I also did not like that stuff at the time.
And that like just super turned me off at the time. I
I
was
100%
like,
understand.
this is dumb. I'm over this. Until the Zombie EP came out, and then I was way into that. And still you know what? I have listened to Dead Throne. How old is that one?
I think that was 2013.
Was that before or after Zombie?
No, that was 2011. That was after. 'Cause Zombie was
Oh.
2010, I think.
Okay, so
And then-
sorry. I know Dead
that
Throne
would've been
too. I dropped
2011.
off after Dead Throne.
Okay.
Yeah, good, because Dead Throne is one of their best.
It's a great record.
It is a great record.
Yeah, so Devil Wears Prada for me falls in this very specific group. Josh, we've talked about this a lot. The very specific group of metal or metalcore bands that I love. They're like early, relatively shitty releases, and then once they got like polished and like got their shit together, I just did not care.
I want the crappy stuff, guys. Just
yeah, like you know, so like I went down the rabbit hole. I was listening to His Last Walk by Bless the Fall. That's the only Bless the Fall album I listened to. Count Your Blessings by Bring Me the Horizon is the only Bring Me the Horizon I will ever listen to in my entire life, intentionally.
Man, I have a hard time disagreeing with that. Also a great band, but Count Your Blessings is forever.
Yeah, dude, I love it. It's not very good.
Nope.
And I would even they're not metalcore at all. They're definitely more emo screamo, but When Broken Is Easily Fixed by Silverstein. That's another one. I love that record. Don't really care for the rest of their discography like at all. Yeah, and even I was thinking like Gwen Stacy, Heavy Heavy Low Low. Like this was all like when this album came out around this time, that was all the stuff I was like really into. But I had not listened to this record. I listened to a couple songs with Willow playing Mosh Pit,
Nice.
but I hadn't listened to the whole record in quite a while. Probably like 15 years maybe.
Wow.
So this was fun. I'm glad we picked this.
Yeah, it will be fun. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it. For me, if I may, so I got into Prada in I think 2008. It was with Plagues. I think I probably was just like scrolling through iTunes though, and I think I found this record and found Texas is South, and immediately was like drawn to the title. Obviously, like, oh, cool,
Right.
And I think that's how I discovered Prada, and then got Plagues, and then yeah. Plagues and With Roots Above and Dead Throne and Zombie were all way bigger for me than this record. Like I had it, but those later stuff were always a lot bigger for me. And then I did kind of like drop out when 818 came out in 2013. I was kind of on my way out with them. and then didn't really listen to them for a while. And then I did listen to The Act and then Color Decay, and I've been enjoying those a little bit more. I'm not like fully back on them, but I'm like still like, yeah, all right, you guys are doing some cool stuff. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. What do we do next on the show, Josh?
Flop or bops?
Yeah. Stone Cold Bop from me, baby. Which is interesting because I've so far established on this show that I'm pretty over my metalcore roots, right? Like at this point, I think have I flopped more heavier stuff than not? I think I have.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think I'm just like kind of been over it.
But you're fully back going into this one.
Well, I don't know. Yeah,
You feel like
Bob.
you will be. All
I
right.
feel like if I hadn't listened to it, I would have predicted a Stone Cold Bop. We'll see how I end up.
Is that what we're doing now? Is like, if I hadn't listened to it, what would I have predicted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like a vestige of what the show was, because we don't really do that anymore. But
Yeah. But what did you expect going into this? Did you expect yourself to give it a bop or a flop?
I think I probably would have guessed flop.
why?
I think it would have been like a couple really good songs and then a lot of like really shitty early metalcore. And so I think I would have a hard time at that point having bopped the record, because I think I would have had to wade through a lot of stuff I really didn't enjoy. Although I know that I still love a couple.
Right.
Again, putting my head before I re-listened to it, there's a couple songs that I knew I loved. So it's
That makes sense.
marginal.
So can we dig into what you think you don't like specifically about early metalcore?
The cleans bother me a lot. The clean vocals often bother me a lot. They often are doing this like, hey, this is gonna come up. This is this is gonna come up in this record too. Like a lot of kind of like attempting to sing really high and then being really off key,
Right.
trying to do harmonies of like two vocalists that really don't know how to sing, and it's recorded really badly. And then like some stuff that's like early 2000s metalcore and deathcore bands like As Blood Runs Black, or like Despised Icon, stuff like that, did these like riffs that they were like repeated over and over and over again in both of those genres. And then a lot of the metalcore that I hear try to do those riffs, it just sounds kind of cheap because they're not doing it heavy enough to make it sound good. And so I was anticipating some of that. There is some of that on this record, on a re-listen. But that's the stuff about early metalcore that usually bothers me. It's like
That makes sense.
production's just so low and everyone just kind of sounds bad.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I love it.
And everyone's like, we know how to kind of do breakdowns. We're going to do lots of them.
Well, that's where I think the ones that set themselves apart in the early 2000s are like, how inventive were you? Like, you can get over sounding like garbage if you're really inventive and can come up with some really like creative riffs and creative breakdowns or wacky shit like Devil Wears Prada does, to be seen.
I love it. All right, Josh, what about you?
And I was trying to think, I would have probably been like right on the line with this one. And I don't know which way I would have fallen, because I have a lot of definitely nostalgia and like good memories of like listening to this record, and definitely like early Prada in high school. But it's not one that was ever as big to me as Plagues and With Roots Above.
Right.
So maybe I would have been leaning flop, but with some nostalgia bop in there. I don't know. It would have been really right on the line. So I'll say maybe that.
Okay. All right. Interesting. I love this. So I do have another question for both of y'all. I just started thinking about this. Did y'all have friends in high school that were also into like heavier music? Like, did y'all like get to experience like these sorts of albums like with friends?
I did have one friend, Kyle, and then my cousin Zach.
Oh, right.
And then I think I'm going to take credit for getting Kyle into Prada.
Okay.
Because I do remember whenever With Roots Above came out, we got to talk about that in homeroom the next day. But I would have said, other than him, and at this point for Prada, I don't think he was into Prada. Maybe my cousin Zach was, but that was it.
What about you? Did you have no friends?
Not really. I used to go to the summer camp every summer, and there was a bunch of like solid state metal kids there. So I would like reconnect with them over metal every summer and like
Cool.
be pen pals with them and stuff. But like in my hometown, it was just me, maybe like one person in Fort Worth. And then I like recruited like two of my friends to get into metalcore. But then the moment it wasn't cool anymore, they just like pieced the fuck
Right. They're over it.
out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, not
Okay.
really.
That's just, but still a little bit,
A
because
little bit.
I've been thinking about this. Is like, I had literally no one that was into like metalcore. Like all my friends were like, we were all the like whiny acoustic emo assholes. But I had this weird metalcore obsession that I didn't get to like people would like Hawthorne Heights, like screamo. I had friends that were like into that, but like I was definitely, I was jamming As Blood Runs Black before this,
Hell yeah.
before we started, and like I love that. Like I have a very specific memory of listening to Allegiance by As Blood Runs Black and this album driving on the way to my band practice to The Truth About Movie Stars, where as soon as I got in, we started practicing a cover of a Coldplay song. And there was just like such this weird dichotomy in my life, and I feel like if I can articulate that a little bit more, I think it unlocks a lot about who I am as a person and potentially the duality of man. I'm trying to get into TJ's headspace.
Yeah, there's a
bit.
lot here. There's a lot for us to unpack with this, Kylan.
Yeah, we'll
have to
save
give
it
this
for the
some-
Patreon.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I think that's kind of a thing in like any sort of small town where
Yeah.
like if you're into something like metal, for me it was like I would listen to metal and I would do it mostly on my own. And then anytime I was around other people, I'd like get to youth group and I would like play guitar for like our like worship band.
Right.
So it was like
Although-
immediate turning off like whatever
Yeah.
was going on in my minivan before that.
Although it was kind of fun to be able to use like Devil Wears Prada or He Is Legend or something almost as a kind of joke to freak people out.
Okay.
Like I would always do that. Like we're all like listening to Death Cab and I'm like, oh, here, check out this CD. And then it just screaming and everyone freaks out. I'm like, yeah, that was pretty fun.
Well, and like getting a rise out of people was
Yeah.
always fun because it's like I know that this stuff is good. I know you
Right.
don't understand it because you're a pussy, but like
yes, exactly. Exactly. There it is. The duality of man.
exactly.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to get the party started with 2006's Dear Love, A Beautiful Discord by The Devil Wears Prada.
You know what else they have at Collide Records?
What else do they have?
This is an interesting thing. For Under Oath, they erased me 7-inch vinyl box set in acid green, which matches the album artwork, which that's an interesting concept. Like,
Oh, is it each song as a...
well, it's like a A-side, B-side of the 7-inch.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
Okay.
like, hey, do you like listening to records? How about you, do you like also getting up every 2 songs? Every song to change the record and flip it over? And then also,
Right.
and if you're an Under Oath fan, do you like doing that as well? Which in practice, I don't know. That seems like an interesting thing, but that seems prime for collectors out there.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. For
yeah,
sure.
and I haven't seen that anywhere else. So I mean, pretty cool. So
yeah.
if you're into Under Oath and Under Oath Erase Me, and Under Oath Erase Me on 7-inch, so you can get it multiple times in your listening experience, or if you're just a collector for cool items like that, you can check that out at colliderecords.com, and it has the B-side or the other bonus track they released later, Loneliness, as well. So it's a nice 6 discs at 2 songs per disc.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, I think they also have it for an Oxburns Redwood as well.
Oh, cool.
Phantom Anthem, they have the 7-inch box set for that as well. So yeah, if you're a metalhead and you like 7 inches, Collide Records, place for you. Use our promo code ChurchJams now for 20% off your order, and have fun getting up and flipping your vinyl over after every song.
Welcome back to Church Jams Now. We are still, of course, joined by our very own Dark TJ, Jonathan Hugendorn, and we're about to talk about Dear Love, A Beautiful Discord. Before we go track by track, does anyone have any general thoughts? Anything they want to say? Besides, guys, how gent is this record?
Oh man, I have so many notes about its gentness.
It's so gent. It's so genty. That feels offensive when I say that. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Who?
I
How
have.
gent is it?
Yeah, no, I have in my notes. Don't explain to the podcast what gent means.
Good. We don't need it because we already know.
We already know.
We're
Why would
fully
you-
aware.
Yeah.
So we've already explained to everybody. And if you don't know, go
It's too
check
late.
out
Yeah.
volume 89.
Yeah, I must have missed that episode where you explained it in full, and I'm kind of offended you didn't have me on to do it for you, since I'm the one that started this whole thing.
Honestly, now I'm genuinely curious what
You're
what
genuinely
volume,
curious.
genuinely curious what volume 89 was. It's gonna be something
Had to have
wild,
been
isn't it?
Bleach or something almost.
Watch
No,
it.
it's
Watch
just
it
Polar-
is the Earthsuit
No,
episode or the Under Earth
I know.
episode.
No.
Dead Poetic was 88. Dead Poetic was 88.
no,
it's gotta
it's
be
Small
it's
Town
Small Town
Poets.
Poets. Yep.
But no, the small town poets definitely we super
So
got
gent.
into the
So
definition of gent.
Shall we make the ascent?
Ooh, yeah. I don't know why I didn't do the usual titles thing. It's because TJ usually starts it. I don't know how to start it. Yes, we shall make the ascent. I got nothing to say except get this out of here.
Yeah, I kind of with you on that, man. I don't see any reason for this to be here.
It's because I didn't want to have a 6-song EP in 2005. So they're like, let's put some instrumentals in here to make it a little bit longer, I guess.
Oh, did that carried over from the EP?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But in a way, I appreciate that it's there because you guys remember when like the MP3 days and you were putting stuff on iTunes and then the intro was a part of the first song. So if you put it on a playlist, you had to wait for like a minute and a half to get to the song, and that was more irritating than anything else. So
you like
you
it
know,
being a
whatever.
separate track so you don't have to wait a whole minute for
Yeah.
the next song. Yeah.
Sure, why not? I think it's too
Yeah,
long, but why not?
I'd say it could definitely be shorter because it doesn't really do much.
It could be so short that it doesn't exist. Is what I say.
Got it.
It really puts me
Yeah.
in the mood. I really do feel
Does
like I'm
it?
ascending. It
Does
creates a
it?
great word.
It
Like
creates
between the
ambiance.
ascent and the ambiance, I really just picture where we're going with this record. I'm placed right there.
Okay, well, if you guys both feel that way, I feel like I'm in a gauntlet of solitude over here thinking that song sucks. So let's move on to track number 2, Gauntlet of Solitude.
The opening riff is kind of no, not kind of. It is exactly what I was talking about with like a sort of shittily ripped off Despised Icon riff.
Yeah.
I don't like the intro riff to this song at all. I think there are actually a bunch of points in this song that would have been better to start it with that are way cooler sections. I like the first song. I like Gauntlet of Solitude a lot, but the intro riff kind of like irritates me. But then they move on in like 20 seconds. So
That's true. It does feel
Yeah.
very like Chiodos adjacent, like that
Dude.
sort of like
I got lots of Chiodos notes in my
for sure with like the piano and all just like chaotic.
yeah.
What does anyone have an idea of what is the Gauntlet of Solitude?
I'm assuming
Like,
it's
any-
it's a play on Fortress of Solitude, right?
That's what I was thinking. But I was also thinking, okay, Gauntlet is like a glove, right? And Solitude,
Or a
you're
maze.
only or a maze, right? Yeah, or only one. So I'm like, one glove, Michael Jackson. I don't know. Maybe there's a-
Oh, wow. I think you put way more thought into it than anyone in the band.
That was just
did.
my first thought. I was like, it's got to be a Fortress of Solitude thing, but that was the first thought that came to my mind.
I think
like-
this is probably a vague reference, or not a like very obscure reference to some piece of armor that you gain in an Elder Scrolls game.
That's
Right.
something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the Michael Jackson thing is making
Yeah,
sense.
I'm sure
Mass
there's more
chaos is our
breadcrumbs
weapon
along the
of
way.
unification.
Yeah, for us to discover. Yep.
Eternal merciless eyes.
He talks
Yeah.
about a man in the mirror, like
Billie Jean. Death harmonizes with your walk. Oh wow. So my first note was hell yeah, brother.
Do you have a sound effect for that, Kylan?
I do. We'll fix it in post. Yeah. So I was talking about like, we were talking about in part A the like pretty like shitty production. At least at this point, like first song in, I'm like, oh, this sounds a lot better than I remember. I do wish the guitars were like fuller. The guitars are really like high end and tinny.
Real thin, yeah.
Well, it doesn't sound like I didn't pay super attention to it, but thinking back, it doesn't sound like they're doing like a lot of like layering of the guitars. Like they probably just have like Jeremy and Mike are just like right and left kind of thing. Like I don't think they're probably
Right.
doing like, oh, we're gonna put 4 guitar tracks down for these big chuggy parts kind of thing. Like it's probably just like, hey, left and right, boom, go.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it just feels really thin. And then where is it at 210?
Yes.
Do you love that snare?
I love
It's
this
so
snare.
dumb. It's so
No, I love it.
dumb.
I'll go to the mat on this little
Oh, it's so
snare drum fill, man. I love it. I love it. I think I like it because of what comes after it. Yeah, I think what I like about it is like early Micronica days, he would really let loose on the high screams. So they would throw in these little like wacky things like that drum fill. And then right after that, he goes into a really kind of like guttural high scream thing for 20, 30 seconds. And I love that transition. I know the like drum fill is kind of stupid, but it brought me back into this song, even though I wasn't super hooked already. So
But they do a lot of little stuff like that between like even like in the first like 20 seconds you have that little like key fill thing, like just little things that are like weird little thing transition, and so you can jump to a new section.
yeah, and I think that's a strength and a weakness. 'Cause, like, I think it's a strength because it does set them apart from a lot of other bands at the time. I think like these bands we're talking about, like As Blood Runs Black and things like that, they didn't do those wacky little intermixed like keyboard stuff. But it really, I think it like it makes their music stand out a little bit more. But it's also a weakness because I think sometimes in this record they have a difficult time tying together pieces of
Yeah,
songs.
that's my interpretation of it, is that they just have like, oh, I have a riff here and I have a riff here, and we aren't to the point yet in our writing to where we can like blend things and like find good transitions. So like if we just stop and then put something weird in here, then we can just start again at this other thing. We don't have to worry about how are we going to get from here to here kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that was one major note I had over the whole album was like many pieces of it. I think you could have just copy pasted from another song and it wouldn't have really mattered that it came
Yeah.
from somewhere else.
Exactly.
Which whatever, man. They were so young. It was like an early record. So
Yeah, everyone has that. No one's, which obviously they figured out soon afterwards because they definitely get a lot better and their songs get a lot more cohesive and in transition better. But yeah, which makes sense as an opening record. So, but
yeah.
the fact remains. I have some lyric notes on here. I do like the line, or it stuck out to me at least. Tied are you by the scarlet thread? Where
What?
there's the line, tied are you by the scarlet thread, which the phrasing of that is very Yoda.
I have always considered Devil Wears Prada lyrics to be incomprehensible, so I didn't even try to to look at them this time around.
Well, Mike does get, and this is I remember in high school, and this was, I think, after With Roots Above came out, but I was listening in my room to it, and my mom came in, and she wasn't like big into like, she didn't like that kind of music and everything, but she like, my CD was out, so she like picked up the CD and like read through some of the lyrics, like expected to be like, maybe confront me about something, but then she was like, huh, I like these lyrics actually. And I was like, yeah, there you go, Mom. So definitely by that point, I think he had gotten a lot better. But at this point, I think he's just kind of like mixing. It's just all, it feels like it's just all scattered kind of lines. Like,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of like through lines in the writing, and it's just kind of like, oh, here's a line I like, here's a line I like, which does fit the music when it's kind of just going back and forth between stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that a couple times later on in the record too, where like there's a couple lines that just, to be honest, they just sound cool. It's got nothing to do with anything else, but when they drop it and how they drop it, it just kind of sounds awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's also using, I know Kylan likes to talk about like flowery language and like stuff that we did when we're young. He uses the word, oh, how I yearn to dismiss these memories, which I did not even know the word dismiss, and I had to look it up. And it's an obsolete adjective that means humble or submissive. So, yeah, he's pulling out some old vocab words.
Yeah, he's I don't know if this goes back as far as this record, but like I was listening to an interview with him a while back where like, man, he's a really well-read guy, Mike.
Yeah.
Really not surprising. I just didn't know that about him. Where, oh, I know what it was. It was the Audio Tree Live that they did like 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they started talking about like, oh, you're a big reader. What are you reading these days? And he listed like two classic Russian novels, and then this book called A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles, which is a I don't know if you know that book, but it's it's a modern book about a guy living in like post-Soviet Russia. And it was like the weirdest thing. Like they're talking about like metalcore, and then he starts talking about like Dostoevsky and, and Tolstoy and this other. I was like, Russian... oh, big classic Russian novel fan. That's awesome. So yeah, like I think he's a really well-read guy. I think as the years go by, his lyrics do get a lot more coherent. I think Plagues is kind of like this record in terms of lyrics. They don't really, they don't really fit together. But yeah, as the years go by, they get a lot more philosophical, a lot more deep.
I agree. Yeah. But yeah, it just had some funny moments on it where I was like, okay. And you got to go through those times where you're figuring it out and you're finding your voice and finding how you like to structure things and whatnot. But yeah, fine for their first album.
All right. Did we have anything else about Gauntlet of Solitude?
Nope.
All right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was gone I assumed you guys.
You missed my Yoda impression.
Oh no! Do it again. Do it, man. Do it right now.
Well, I was telling Hoog I like the line, tied are you by the scarlet thread.
Worth it.
Yeah, there you
so
go.
Worth it.
Just for you.
You guys had to play that twice on the release podcast as well.
Okay. People will know that Kylan just left and came back.
I feel like people do know, right?
I feel like people probably do.
No,
they probably
I've never,
know.
Do you know?
Okay. You never caught when I've just like gone to pee for like
not unless you specifically say something about
or
it.
If he says something off mic or something, and you hear him coming back.
Sure. Yeah. Sometimes you'll say like, "Oh, sorry, now I'm back," but other than that, no.
All right, guys. Dogs can grow beards all over. This is another one of those riffs, Hoog. It's like,
oh, this one, I love this one though. This one's great.
No, I do too.
I think there's nothing about this song that is not iconic in metalcore. I mean, man, this song is amazing. It's not my favorite on the record, but I love this song. Yeah, I think even from like the intro riff, even though it is stereotypical of its time, the chorus later, yeah, I would put this in like one of the most iconic metalcore songs there ever was.
100%. This is also my favorite song on the record.
Oh, it is? It's not my favorite, but I'm glad it is yours.
I'm really torn. I don't know if it's my favorite or not. I do think it's the best song on the record.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a real like Memphis situation where they put a lot of focus on
a lot of work.
Like this song and developing it. And in this, as you mentioned before, it is one of the two new songs on the record. So I think you can definitely tell, we have some more experience of what we're making on this song.
Yeah.
Like I think I think this is the only song that I know, but I think if I asked y'all like, sing me the opening riff to any of these songs, like this is probably the only one that I feel like most people could probably do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it does stand out from the rest of the record, I think. I think this is the first time that Jeremy shows up on the record, right?
Yes.
And that he wears this like jacket portion. I think it was really well used to like introduce the clean vocals, because like it's kind of come across as like a straight metalcore type song, and then I think when they introduce him with like a really iconic line, something that sticks in the brain because it is kind of weird, I think it's very well utilized to introduce like, here's this other portion of our band.
Yeah.
Really.
And they always kind of did that. I feel like on subsequent releases, it would be like halfway through like the first song, like in the bridge, then like it's just been Mike, and then Jeremy comes soaring in. Like they always make his entrances very grand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think part of why it's my favorite song is I don't think I'm much of a Devil Wears Prada fan, but I'm very much a Maylene and the Sons of Disaster fan. Right? And the whole middle section of this is just a Maylene song. It's just swinging. Just listen to this.
I had never
or a Del Sur song. This is a Del Sur song.
A Del Sur song is a Maylene Jr. song. You know? Even that guitar. Yeah. No, it really 100%. Is. And I don't know if I'd ever really clocked it as like, this is them doing the Southern metal thing.
It's so Southern,
which, to my knowledge, I can't think of any other times that they did that. Like, obviously 2006 was very like Maylene just came out the year before, and everyone was kind of,
Right.
I feel like, dipping their toes in that water a little bit. So,
But they
yeah,
can't
I
do
think
it too long. They have to go back to the.
Yeah, I think it works. It'd be weird if
Yeah.
they did it more than that. I think
For
it's
sure.
just a fun
It's like the
little-
perfect amount. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
And then it goes into the little part at the end, the breakdown. It's so funny to me because you expect like a full kind of synth thing, and it's just this little like synth like pop.
No, I love how
Like-
it's so anticlimactic.
It's so cool.
Pink.
Ding.
Yeah.
It's just
And
like,
then the
It's
bass.
brilliant, man.
It's
I
so
love that
silly.
so much.
And the bass slide, definitely some sweet bass with that bass slide.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And the last thing is there's so much bell from the ride on this song. It's like only bell. It's like
I
ding,
love
ding, ding, ding.
going
Like,
down on the bell.
yeah,
I love it.
It's like the only thing in this song. I love it.
That's the only thing he's playing.
Yeah, it sounds like it at times. See? Dude, and I just picked a random part of the song. I didn't plan that.
I think you've proved your point.
Like I literally just clicked a random thing on the timeline. That's so funny.
good. Yeah. Is that what you were talking about earlier? Like of Mike just saying stuff that sounds cool, like the chainsaw brutality, tornado
Absolutely.
strength. Yeah, you're like
It's a really great example. I have
Yeah,
a couple more
yeah.
that I want to point out later, but yeah, the whiplash of this song is crazy because early on they say don't be ashamed of your faith, right? And then as you go through it, they're like chainsaw brutality, tornado strength. Oh, he wears a slick jacket and gold watch. Like, what is this?
Right.
What are we talking about?
I know.
It doesn't matter.
I
Like,
could
it's
not tell
irrelevant.
you.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant.
No,
but-
beyond the music, I think lyrically TJ would have a meltdown over this
Yeah.
album because it's like it doesn't matter. It literally like it is the most vibe guy thing possible.
even though it is Vibe Guy, I like the line that Jeremy sings, like describing, I don't know if it's the devil or whoever they're trying to describe when a slick jacket and gold watch. It reminds me of Aaron's lines from Memphis Will Be Laid to Waste.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is a pretty good corollary for that song.
For sure.
I don't know what Aaron was talking about either, with a bracelet made of gold and scarlet thread around her wrist, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But maybe they were kind of pulling from that, like vague
Probably.
early 2000s poetry.
For sure.
But I like it.
It works.
Yep.
Oh, my last note, sorry, was this is just straight Mountain Dew into my veins. Like that's what this feels like to me, listening to this song.
Yep. I learned another vocab word. So on the first one we had dismiss, and now we have surcease, which is to desist from action, come to an end.
Oh.
So Mike, that was a new word.
You know
hear-
he was out there
you
with
don't
his
hear-
thesaurus, man.
Yeah, you don't hear surcease in a lot of songs these days. nor
Yeah, I
in
can only name like
2006.
6
yeah,
total.
yeah. They're
Billie
your songs,
Jean.
aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Billie Jean. There's got to be a Newsboy song that says surcease.
Yeah.
I do have a quick story about this song. This was like 6 months ago. We went to Auto Bar, which is our favorite like rock show venue in Baltimore, to see Callous Cowboys, See You Space Cowboy, and this other band called Omerta. We had never heard of Omerta before. They're just like a metalcore, rappy type band. They're young. They're all like early 20s. So me and Laura kind of like pieced out to go sit in the balcony for a while and let them like play their show. And they got like more than halfway through. And I heard like something that sounded familiar. So I stopped talking to her for a second. I was listening to the music and I was like, is this? And she looks at me and she's like, Dogs Can Grow Beards All Over. And I was like,
Oh my
they're
God.
playing Dogs Can Grow Beards All Over. So we like got up, ran downstairs, and we were like, these fucking kids are playing a cover of Dogs Can Grow Beards All Over.
Oh,
which is
awesome.
which is crazy because we were talking about this with the Lightworker guys, right? Like this scene doesn't do covers of itself a whole lot.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not really a thing at all. So it was funny because like we looked around too, and we were on the older side for this group too, because some of
Right.
those other bands are really young. So there's like 19, 20-year-olds of the show, and then there's like a handful of 30 somethings, but you can just see all their eyes like light up at the same time and be like, Devil Wears Prada. A very
so good.
exciting moment. So it's cool to see like their influence on younger people too. And that's not the first time I've come across that too. Like some of our friends that we have seen at shows, like we'll talk about how they're really familiar with Devil Wears Prada. They really love their new music, but don't know shit about Under Oath or Emery. And I don't really know how to explain that. Like I know Devil Wears Prada, they are a little bit younger than those other guys, but they've all been making music for the same period of time. So I don't know. They're still influential for some weird reason.
I mean, they've been around 20 years. That's wild.
That's cool. Yeah, I can't remember any times where I saw a band cover like another metalcore song or something like that. Like normally they're just playing their music. So it's cool that it's like, oh, here's one for the old guys.
Yeah.
Here's a Prada tune.
And weirdly enough, like this is neither here nor there, but that same show, Callous Cowboys, closed out their set with a riff from a really obscure Emure song. And that was the end of their set. And I was like, what are you guys like doing like dog whistles to people that are over 30? What is this?
It's just for y'all.
Yeah.
I think so. All right, guys. As we move on into the next.
Well, Colin, you kind of trailed off there.
Sorry, what? What?
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, yeah.
You
so,
kind of.
So we're gonna move on to the next song, and then.
No, you did it again.
Oh my! I'm so
Is
sorry.
everything okay?
Yeah,
Are you good? You good?
I promise everything's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
right.
things have been a little weird around.
We'll cut this producer's note. Get it together, okay, man? This
Okay,
is
I
professional.
I promise. I promise. From here on out, I'm going to be super professional.
Don't mess up again. Okay. All right, Kylan, you're doing great, man. Just keep it going, man. I believe in you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I know I could not do this show without all of your encouragement. Track number 3, and the sentence trails off. I love this intro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a good song.
Controversial take. This is a good song.
Hell yeah.
It was a perfect transition from the last song, too.
Which is impressive that it was inserted in between on the original release, that it wasn't there.
Right.
It still works with the new transition.
Yeah. I have in my notes that overall this was probably my favorite keyboard work on the record. I just love the keys.
Yeah. With the real, like, it's almost like how would you describe that synth sound in the beginning? To me, it's like a synth being played through a straw. Right? Like, I don't know. Like, it's like, but it's something specific about like the resonance. It feels like it's in a straw.
No, it does feel like it's very a narrow band of EQ of moving or whatever. Yeah. I like that, through a straw.
Right after this part, when they start doing the breakdown, is where I wrote, or not breakdown, where they do this like clean vocals. Right here, this part where it's just the drums. I was like, oh yeah, they're the drums I remember. They're just a little bit out of time. It's like, like you almost got it. But I'm not saying that like I couldn't do it, right? And I played drums in a metal band, and I cannot. One of the only videos you can see of us online is me royally fucking up going into a breakdown, like so bad, like the worst I've ever messed up anything in my entire life. Yeah, but there is something to be said. I do like the sort of raw, almost like punk rock kind of thing of it, because everything is just so quantized now, and they would just honestly just put samples on the kick, but it's like, no, you could tell that's like a real kick and someone that's like very
probably 18 playing drums.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, they rush just a little bit, or they're behind just a little bit. So it simultaneously really bugs me, and I also find it very endearing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I did feel like the keys part at 145, the little break, reminds me of, Kylan, you can confirm whether I'm crazy or if you agree, that reminds me of the Blue Channel by Taking Back Sunday. The intro to that.
Yes.
I feel like it's kind of similar. Yeah.
Hold on, let's check that out.
I think so. Yeah, 145.
Yeah, it's coming right up right here.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 seconds.
Also a little off.
Kind of similar. Yeah, also a little off.
Oh wow, that's very similar.
But it's like it's one of those things. It's like one of those piano things, right? That like it sounds really pretty, but it's like and like really complicated, but it's really not that hard to play. I feel like a lot of people did. A lot of the Chiodo stuff is kind of like that too.
I was gonna call out Intensity in 10 Cities by Chiodos because it's like one of their slow jams, and it is basically the same thing but in halftime. And again, exactly like you said, I used to play it to like feel cool on a piano.
Right? Yeah. It's like real impressive. Yeah.
I cannot play piano, but that was a really easy song to play.
Yeah, that's great. Josh, you need to learn all these on piano.
Okay. I'll make a super cut of them.
You could just learn like 20 songs on piano, but they're all just like from different metalcore songs.
They're all just sections.
They're all 20-second long too. Like, that was my song. Okay, now the next one. It's slightly different.
Oh my god. I feel like someone like a jazz musician sitting down to like play at a restaurant. Like, that would be a really funny sketch for like 6 people. Like only 6 people, but we would find it hilarious. Yeah, it's just all like little sections of like Chiodos and stuff. Oh.
Someone tell Tim Robinson.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's like the Weezer skit, but even more.
Right. Even more obscure. Yeah.
Even more obscure.
Exactly.
Yep. I feel like Mike's already got Zombies on the Mind of The Grave Widens and the masses are mindlessly marching to the necropolis.
Is that what he's saying?
That's one of the lines he's saying.
Oh.
You didn't get that in his delivery, Kylan?
I didn't understand a single goddamn thing this man said on this record.
Dude, okay, so me and Laura talked about this earlier today because she like quoted a couple things from this record. I was like, how do you know these lyrics? And she was like, I don't know, I like listen to the singers. I was like, I can't understand anything Mike says too, ever.
Yeah. No.
And she was like, you're crazy. I can understand what he says. Like,
no, Laura's the only one that can understand him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell her that.
Get her on, bring her
she's
down.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy. She's crazy.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't matter, right?
It doesn't matter.
Like, it just really doesn't. It's like a little flowery.
That's why you buy this.
Like,
maybe this was a way to fight the CD burning back then. They're like, hey, kids are going to have to buy the lyric booklet so they actually know what I'm saying. Otherwise, if you just get a burned CD from your friend, you're not going to know what's up.
Wow. So, yeah, I don't really have much else about this. Like,
Yep.
I'm still really digging it.
Yeah. Musically, these songs kind of are all the same so far, but this one I did feel like got a little more interesting in like the last minute of it. I was liking it a bit more. They got some pitch harmonics too. I got to give them props for that.
Always got to love a pinch harmonic.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys know Rosemary had an accident?
I heard that. Is she okay? Have we got any updates?
Track number 5, Rosemary had an accident. His scream is a little different on or his delivery is a little different on this song. Like, it gets a little more punk rock, where he's like screaming and it kind of just turns into spoken word a little bit at the end of every line, which I really like.
I think the song is where I started to like drift off a little bit. And I think I used to in high school too, where like when I was already a fan of Plagues and I would go back and listen to this, I think somewhere around here I would start to be like, okay, I can't really tell the difference between this song and the last two and the one after it.
Nope.
But that being said, I do like some portions of this song a lot. I think like the first half I could take it or leave it. But I do love like the breakdown at the end, like the you shall fall by the sword. That stuck with me forever. I love that. I love that portion. And I have a point about that later in the record. I will bring it back up later.
All right. I really like when it turns into a post-hardcore song from 112 to 230. Like, that was honestly one of the more memorable moments on the record for me. Like, it just is very different.
Like here?
Yeah, this whole section, just for like the next minute and 15 seconds is like, this is odd, but kind of cool.
Yeah.
Prada.
Yeah, they move from section to section so fast.
They really do. They don't hang out long. They don't establish anything and then like come back to it like we did one time and that's it.
That's it.
Like,
One and done, baby.
It kind of reminds me of y'all's conversation about Messengers. Although I don't remember Messengers quite as fondly as I remember this record. I think this one's a little bit more lovable.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, they don't really know how to tie everything together. So they're just like, let's do this, and then let's do this, and then let's do this, and then this. But it's not necessarily like a good, coherent picture.
Right. The song is too long. I'll say that.
Yeah. The breakdown's like 2 minutes, and maybe it doesn't need to be that long, but I do respect them like truly breaking it down, like and like slowing things down.
Yeah.
So that's nice. Maybe you could have got there a little sooner, but
Yeah, I think that's the stuff that attracted me to them early on was when they would just let Mike go fucking insane like he does at the end of this song. I don't know, it's just always so fun. It never seemed like too dark, but you could tell that he's just like giving it everything.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, there is something about this record, something like the energy on it, and I think like mixed with like the silly song titles and stuff, it's like everyone seems like they're having fun.
Yeah, and you're not trying to take it super seriously. I feel like Mike is there to be like, hey, we're not just a novelty act. Like, I actually am. And I think on this record, but definitely more down the line of when you're like, haha, they have an assistant to the regional manager song, but then you like read the lyrics, you're like, oh, they're actually like, it's a real song talking about real things. Like, it's not just a joke. So it's a good balance of both of those things.
For sure.
Yeah.
I would like to know where I can get a Hood of Falsification, though, because that sounds pretty cool. I could use.
I'm telling you, dude, they're playing.
That's the Elder Scrolls thing.
The Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. That's some Morrowind shit right there. That's so funny.
Yeah, and he does say, "Beware, nihilists! You shall fall by the sword." Also, it's not practical. Oh, sir.
Oh yeah, you like the album that we covered?
Yeah.
What year was that?
2004.
1999. Oh yeah, 2004.
1982.
Oh, that was so embarrassing for me. I hope I can get Redemption on the next song. Track number 6, Redemption.
Man, not only can you get Redemption, Kylan, I'm sure you're going to love it and be stirred in your soul from the ethereal sounds you're going to hear.
Yeah. I have 4 words. What do you think they are?
Cut it out, please.
Close. I said, get this out of here.
Okay.
Same as the first track.
Yeah.
I will say it is a red flag for me anytime a heavy song is called Redemption or Salvation, and there are both of those on this record.
Yeah.
I know that I'm not going to like it.
Two red flags cancel each other out and make a green flag?
If I can just forget about both of them, perhaps.
Okay. 2 red flags don't make a green flag, but 3 do.
But 3
do. All we need is 1 more red flag, guys.
Yeah, I don't know. Why is this on here?
I don't know. My only note is I do appreciate that they kept the balance on patterns. It was like you had instrumental, 3 songs, instrumental, 3 songs, instrumental. So I do like that they kept the balance where you do instrumental 4 songs, instrumental 4 songs to divide the record in half. But other than that, I have no thoughts on this.
Cool.
Nope. I didn't know the song existed, actually.
That's fine.
I
don't think it really does. I don't think it really does, if I'm being honest. All right, track number 7, Swords, Dragons, and Diet Coke.
Sounds like a Tuesday night.
Hey, that's tonight.
Hey, this intro reminds me of Census Fail a little bit. What did I write? I don't know. My notes are so dumb. I said metalcore lyrics are so generic. We already talked about that. It just sounds fancy, but it's not. But I want to make sick riffs like this.
Yeah, I love this riff. This is, like, again, I know I keep saying it. This is just Despised Icon, like the first 30 seconds of the song. But this is my favorite song on the record.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's funny, in my notes, you can see me progress from I hate this song to this is my favorite song on the record.
Oh, that's funny.
The first time I listened to it, I was like, this is cool. And then they got to the second clean portion where they say, I didn't write it down, where it's the harmonized vocals like halfway through the song, and they're both off key and they sound terrible.
Right.
That does drive me crazy. I hate that part.
But
and so that, yeah, well, I didn't the first time. That really turned me off to the song. I forgot about everything that happened the rest of the song. And then I listened to it again. I was like, oh no, this might be my favorite song on the record. And then I listened to it again. I was like, definitely this is my favorite song on the record. So yeah, it had some competition, but I think it's the most, you said, Josh, earlier that you think Dogs is the best song on the record. I think Dogs is the most fun song on the record, but I think this is the best one. I think it's more well organized. It's not as chaotic. I think it has like a point A to point B. It grows, it builds, and they don't just kind of throw in random fun things. I think this is a really good song.
Nice. That's a good.
I think it needs a deer in it for Kylan.
To win him over. Yeah,
I
yeah.
will never be forgotten. I will never forget you, dear.
Darlene.
Darling.
Yeah,
Fuck.
either one.
I thought it was
Either
dear.
one,
Darling.
yeah.
Okay.
Either one I think would work for him. Darlene speaks to him more, but yeah.
I do like it.
Was that the part you were talking about? Who the other clean vocals that I will never be forgotten?
Yes. Yeah.
I
do
like
not
that
think
part.
it sounds good. Oh, you like it?
You
Okay.
don't think it sounds good?
No,
I
because
like
I
that
think
it's different from what they've done, and it sounds like someone else is singing it, but there's no one credited in the liner notes. So
I would guess it's the
like Friends of the
keyboardist,
Band or
right?
something?
No, actually, I'm sorry. I looked this up. It is the keyboardist.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The
Oh.
blonde guy. I don't know his name.
James.
James. Okay. Yeah, I think it was just on a Wikipedia footnote or something, but I also thought that's not Mike. So they
It's
do
not
have him
Jeremy either,
credited
yeah.
somewhere
Oh, okay.
as James. I think it's I think this is where I landed. I do really like the concept of what they did. I think it is a really good idea. I just think that they're too off key for me to really.
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just needed to practice a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just like that it is a little different from everything that we've gotten so far. So
Yeah.
there for Mike's line, the way he delivers this line is crazy. But whenever in the beginning where he says is what has risen from the pits, like I would have never. You should ask Laura if she knows the words to that part. 'Cause I would have never understood what Mike said in a million years.
I'm gonna
if I
stick
would've
it to
listened.
her.
Yeah, no, just ask her. Be like, hey, at this part of the song, what is Mike saying here? Because it is indecipherable.
I am gonna do that.
Perfect.
On the line of crazy lyrics and moments, I can't tell you how much I love like Mike's. I think it's the final line in the song. Your final days approach, and he like draws out the approach. I love the way that sounds so much. I think you can tell like in the recording that this is one of those places where they had that as a closer, and they just kind of like copied and pasted it into the song.
Yeah.
They're like, how do we finish this shit like really heavy? And they're like, your final days approach. Let's just copy paste that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think it is awesome.
It's pretty sweet. Yeah, good song. Who speaks Spanish?
Yo, habla un poquito.
Colon quesadilla? This is a bad song title. Who speaks Spanish? Colon quesadilla.
Did not age well.
No.
And musically, this is where I start to get a little fatigued, where everything is starting to kind of blend together. I wish the kind of clean emo thing that they do in it lasted a little bit longer, because then it would at least sort of break up some of the sameness of the record. But they don't stick around with anything for very long.
No, I really like these moments on it of having like the down moments with the clean guitar, which was something we haven't done on the record before. And they do it here, and then they jump back in, but then later it comes back again.
Yeah.
So I feel like that this might be my favorite song on the record. I didn't really
nice.
like go in with being like, this is my like a set favorite, but I think I do like this guitar part here. I feel like there's a lot of good moments that make this stand out a little bit, which I feel like has always been more of like a side B for this record.
Interesting.
So I do like this one.
Do you like the lead line that's just the beginning part of Quiet Things That No One Ever Knows?
It really is. It 100% is. That's probably why I like it.
Yeah, totally Quiet Things That No One Ever Knows.
It 100% is.
Cool. So your favorite song is the one with the super racist title?
That's not racist.
Oh, okay.
It's cultural.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, Joe Rogan. No, just kidding.
No, I like it. We've got some gang vox too. We await the day when all our blood will wash away. And then they get right after this part right here is real proggy.
Yeah.
Which normally I'm not into, but I feel like it's just a fun flavor that we haven't gotten on this record, and I like it. And then you get towards the end, you get like the ascending and descending slides on things. So I think this was always the one that I like wanted to like have Texas is South be my favorite song because of the title, but I think I always liked this one more.
I love that. Like here, so normally it's the opposite. I had the most basic pick, the most streamed song on the album as my favorite. And yours, this is the second least streamed. The only one that has less is Redemption.
It's because people don't speak Spanish. They don't get it, probably. You know?
That makes sense.
It does make sense.
Is the only Spanish-speaking Devil Wears Prada fan. That's the only reason.
The only one. Who, whenever I was listening to this song, the line, "This cold floor we know too well," like I was like, oh, this could be a lyric on "Define the Great Line," and then it made me think of this. The floor is more fitting for my face. Like, here again, this is getting old. I was like, oh, these are the same lyrics. But technically, this did come first.
So. Yeah, I was gonna say same year, so they couldn't really be stealing from each other.
I mean, it was the year before when this one came out.
Oh that's right.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, so technically they beat Spencer to it.
Those bastards.
I was gonna say those dirty bastards stealing lyrics. Did you guys know? I should have been doing this the whole time. Did you guys know that Texas is South?
Yeah, I said that at the beginning of the episode.
I have no recollection of that. Here's track 9, Texas is South. Okay, this one, even though it's the longest song on the record, I don't mind it. I like where it goes. I like the way that it starts. The one thing about it to me is I don't understand why this wasn't the last song on the record. I feel like this should have been the last song on the record. It's got that sort of like closing track, epic kind of feel.
Yeah. I mean, it is 6 minutes long.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
6 minutes, 8 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah. But like, then they got almost that like Taking Back Sunday kind of like yelly vocals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just, it feels like, what was the Pretend You're Alive by Love Drug? It's like the album should have ended at a certain point and then it keeps going for like 3 more songs. It's like you don't need that. Either like switch them around or cut something, because I think this record would feel a lot better ending if this was the last song.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be a great outro.
Yeah, it's really strong. I've gotten over the record. I've gotten little like hints of like Bless the Martyr, of like musically a little bit, and then also like some of Mike's lyrics. I'm like, oh, I feel this very Scoggin influence. Yeah. This one is where I feel the most of both of them. Like there's a lot of like in the guitar work, I feel like, and then also in like Good Evening Miss, and just like there's a lot of Mike lines that feel very Scoggin and like, oh,
her tantalization.
Yeah,
she is.
Yeah, that's like you're trying to do something that he would kind of do, but like not quite getting to it. But I can see where you're maybe drawing from. So that's what I was kind of getting. This one felt the most of that for me. But I do like, and like you were kind of saying of like going somewhere, I do like that they open it with Good Evening Miss, and then they also close it with Good Evening Miss. As like and it works both ways. Like first you have your greeting, then you have like your goodbye. So it does feel like it goes somewhere and it closes things out well. So it has more purpose in it lyrically and then also musically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should have been the closing track.
Would have been good.
Yeah.
There's some sweet bass at 140.
Yes, there is.
Strandy trick, yeah. And they also do like the bass slide. Towards the end, they do like the bass slide up, which is really fun, doing more little things in between all the riffs.
I feel like the bass doesn't show up a ton on this record in
Not
the ways
really,
that I
no.
wanted it to. Like it is just doing that like hardcore thing of just hanging out with the kick drum. Wish he did a little bit more, but there are some moments that shine through.
You can definitely see where they like some of the early ideas of what they eventually did on Dead Throne. Like some of the moments where bass does show up on this record, I think if I remember Dead Throne correctly, there were some really prominent bass lines in that record where they turned it way up in the mix, but maybe think of it a little bit. This is the song I talked about earlier where from Rosemary Had an Accident, the You Shall Fall by the Sword line. Makes me crazy because there's like a literal sword sound on this song. I didn't get a timestamp because I was walking while I was listening, but there's literally like a sound where it sounds like a sword is being drawn out of a sheath. And I was like, how did you not put this on Rosemary? That would be awesome. Just randomly on some other song.
Well, they figured it out by the zombie EP.
And they also didn't put it on Swords, Dragons,
Swords,
and Diet
Dragons, and
Coke.
Diet
Yeah,
Coke,
come
right.
on.
Yeah.
Yes, so many sword references.
Right.
We got a lot of swords down in Texas where it's south. So
That's true.
Makes
That
sense.
is
we're
famously
known for
Texas is known for queso and swords.
I had many swords growing up in Texas. That is not a joke.
Man, we
there you
so
go.
would have been friends in high school, Hoog.
Yeah,
We could have listened to metalcore together.
dude,
hang out with our
missed
swords.
opportunity.
I
play
know.
Elden Scrolls or whatever. What are you
Elden
talking about?
Elden Scrolls.
Shut up, nerd. You don't even know what you're talking about.
Elder Scroll.
Oh my god. Yes.
I
Elder
just said it
Scrolls.
wrong.
You're
What-
thinking of
how did-
Elden Ring.
Oh yeah. Okay. I just
Elden
said it
Ring,
wrong.
Elder Scrolls.
Okay.
Yeah, you're a new gen gamer. you
Yeah,
know?
New
Talking about
gens
that 2003
gamer.
shit.
that's right. Oblivion. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, Morrowind.
What you know about Morrowind, Josh? Nothing. So
Absolutely
shut up for the
nothing.
rest of the show. Welcome to Elder Scrolls Now. Okay, let's move on to track number 10, Modify the Pronunciation. Did I say that right?
That was gonna be my first question: is how do y'all pronounce this title?
It's got to be Modify because it's got the E in there.
Modify or modify, like a deification? But modify is probably correct.
Do y'all think this is the heaviest song on the record?
That was my first note. I said,
Oh
this
man,
is
I'm
the
sorry. I didn't mean to steal your
No,
thunder.
that's
but,
okay.
yeah.
No, it's great. I love it when we match up. Yeah, I said, is this the heaviest song on the record?
That is literally what I wrote.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it is. And I think though, you could have also had this as, because it is the heaviest. I think you could have had this as the last song as well. Texas is South should have been,
Yeah.
if not the last, then penultimate, and then this one as the last track, and I would have been perfectly happy.
I don't think that Devil Wears Prada often does like their heavy song at the end of a record, do they? I tend to think of them as doing like the mid slow closers. But I don't know.
I don't know any of their other
remember.
records.
You're the perfect person to ask.
Yeah, I'm not the person to ask, but like it would have been cool to end with like a really heavy
Absolutely.
song.
Yeah. I would have preferred Texas is South more. I don't like Jeremy, how he's delivering all the words, like his vocals at the end of the song. Like,
Yeah.
where he's like super like strange. Like,
I had that
just-
as a note too. I don't like the
Yeah.
off-key yell scream. Like I do think that it's again another Aaron Weiss reach, or maybe more of like a Bless the Fall kind of reach.
Yeah.
That they just didn't quite get there.
Yeah. So I like the first half of the song. Towards the end, I'm like, So yeah,
Here's
I would've
another
liked-
place they could have had a darling. I'm asking for your forgiveness,
100%.
God, but instead of God, darling,
100%.
darling. There.
Lay her to rest. Lay her to rest. That's my impression.
That was
There,
pretty
you know.
good. I enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
Thanks. You want to hear it like Yoda?
Yeah, can you do that line as Yoda, please?
No, I did it earlier, Kylan.
I'm wondering if I have a piece of info here that you don't know, Josh.
Oh?
Is this the right song where there's a guest vocal, or is that on Salvation?
Next song.
Next song. Okay, I won't spoil it then. I had my note on the wrong song. talk.
Ooh. Well, let's get there then. We had Redemption. Let's have some Salvation. With the last track, it comes down to
Second
this.
red flag for Hoog.
That's right. Track number 11, Salvation. I think this should have been the opening track.
Ooh.
That would have solved all my problems.
That could be fun. And then you would just get rid of the Ascent and
Yeah.
Redemption.
Yeah. Maybe Redemption might have a place if there's not two, right?
I'm glad you're open to some Redemption still being
little
around,
bit,
Kylan.
a little
it's
bit.
very grown up of you, you know?
Thank you.
Leaving some space for that.
But how do y'all feel about that alternate track list with this as the opening track and then swap Modify the Pronunciation in Texas is South? That's a good record,
Ooh,
right?
I kind of like that because the last line of the opening song would be, "I can sense the rhythm and it's time to panic." That's a fun way to get into your record.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I definitely think this draws you in more than the opening to this record.
Yeah,
currently.
but it does kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But then it like right at the very end, like the vocals come in and it's like gets you kind of hyped up.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and it would be kind of cool. Do you guys know? Do you guys listen to Chance the Rapper at all?
Yes, I have.
I'm talking 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah. I don't think he's doing anything anymore.
No, I have no idea. But he had that one record where he had Kanye on the first song, and he like called it out in the song where he's like, "This isn't the intro, this is the entree."
Oh yeah.
The intro with Kanye. It's like that would
so
be
good.
kind of the same thing with this, where like it's interesting to have a guest vocal on an intro track. But they did
who
drop
is
a
the
cool
guest vocal? Can you all talk to me about that? Because I don't know this. It wasn't in my research.
Go ahead, Josh.
No, you brought it. You got it.
Brought it
yeah,
up,
yeah.
Hoog.
Oh, it's the vocalist of Gwen Stacy.
Oh, you know what? I did know that. I read that on the Wikipedia.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like a
So
deep
much
cut
for
or
your
anything.
research, Kylan.
On I listen to this podcast called the Bechdel Cast, and they often cite when they talk about Wikipedia, they say scholarly, according to scholarly journal Wikipedia. I love that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Was-
Did you listen to Gwen Stacy? Either of you?
Love
yeah.
Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
Love.
Definitely their first record more than the second one.
Oh, for sure.
What's the Life I Know? Is that the one?
Yep.
That's the one everyone. Yeah.
That is a great record.
It's so good. We should cover that.
I think I did listen to it for like the first time in forever, like last year or something.
Yeah.
It'd been like over like 15 something years since I listened to it.
I remember buying that CD at our local Christian bookstore because it was one of the I popped it in they had the stand with the little boombox CD player and the headphones, and I popped it in, and that first song came on. I was like, yes, please take my $18.99 or whatever.
That's so
Dude, I
funny.
think you'd be a big fan because I think that record is like under 40 minutes easy.
Instant bop. We don't even need to cover it. There it is.
Yeah,
Done.
that's all you need to know.
Done.
That's all you need to know.
And Spider-Man reference before that was cool. I mean,
It's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, that's true.
cool band.
And they got a long, like, kind of instrumental-ish track, like a building track on it, like everything you need.
Done.
Sleeping in the train yard or something like that. I remember.
Best
Man,
record we never covered on Church James Now.
Yeah.
Welcome to Gwen Stacy Jams Now,
Exactly.
where we cover 2 records and then we end the podcast.
I have a question that I'd like to pose to y'all,
Okay.
and I will wait till Kylan returns. I can hear you. I know you can. I just want you to participate. This is what I have to deal with, Hoog.
I know. I heard it on one of your previous episodes. I was like, is he coming back?
I don't even know which one that was because it's what
No.
happened.
Hopefully not one with a guest.
Yeah, he does. He just leaves. It'll be great whenever there's like clips of people, like if I'm like cutting clips for like social, because sometimes he'll just be there and then like by the next like 10 seconds he's gone. It's like it just is in and out of clips. Just like boom, done.
Yeah.
Don't know where he went.
I just disappear, man.
At what point is a song technically an instrumental? Like, what's the cutoff? Because my position before has always been like, oh, are there vocals in it? Then it's not an instrumental. But is there a threshold of like, do you only have a certain amount of vocals? Like, this song feels like an instrumental. It's technically 88% of this song is instrumental.
Yeah.
Right.
Does it qualify as an instrumental just because they have 25 seconds of vocals in it? Or like, do you base off a feel? Is it, if there's any vocals at all, it's not technically instrumental?
Well, I don't think it's if there's any vocals at all, because I think you could potentially like use a voice as like an instrument, right? Like if you're just doing sounds, but then that goes into like language, because all language is just sounds.
That's true.
So I don't know. Yes, technically everything's an instrumental. This is where I'm landing. You should not have asked me this question. I'm spiraling.
This is not where I saw things going, but you have a good point. Technically, everything's instrumental.
Language is made up. I mean, it's
Everything
all...
is fake.
I'm not mad about where we landed on that. No, but that's always been my thing before, where I was like, oh yeah, if you sing, it's not instrumental. But I'm like, this song, I'm like, it feels like it was an instrumental. And then I looked up the original 2005 Patterns of a Horizon version, and that song was it was a minute shorter. It was like 2:20, and that one is fully instrumental. It's just keys too. I don't think it has like the guitars and like the drums and everything come in. So I was like, I already felt like it was an instrumental before even hearing that it was originally an instrumental. So this one just feels like an instrumental.
Yeah. Well,
but there is vocals.
And like we learned, technically
even.
everything feels like an instrumental.
Oh my God.
I'm glad we sorted that out.
That's our new sign off. May all your favorite bands stay together and everything is an instrumental.
You know what? It might actually be. I have to get a new hat though.
That's true. New season.
I don't really think it's an instrumental as it stands. You know, I think if they didn't do the vocals, I would not want this song on the record.
Yeah. 100%.
Even if it's only like 10 seconds or whatever it is,
100%.
I would not want it because, like, I'm okay with an instrumental outro, but it needs to be more substantial than this is.
Yep.
So I think without the vocals, I think the vocals at the very end make this song worthwhile. If you took it
100%.
out, get it out of here.
Well, yeah,
100%.
it's kind of one of those things. I wish that there was more because Cole sounds great. I love the lyrics
awesome.
and he sounds awesome. But I'm like, I wish there was more, but maybe that's like the perfect amount because I'm like, oh man, I wish there was more, and that's maybe where they want me. Because if it was more, it'd be too much potentially.
And especially if it was the first track, then you would have more record to listen to.
Yeah.
You couldn't have like a guest vocalist on like your opening track, right? It'd have to be Mike or something.
Says
Would that be weird?
That's Chance the Rapper did it with Kanye West.
Yeah,
we just said this.
Yeah,
that's true.
Just do it. Everything's made
there
up.
you go.
That record has to
Everything's
come
an
out.
instrumental. You could do whatever you want, man. I don't know where these arbitrary rules are coming from. Okay.
I thought you were gonna say something, Luke.
I did too.
I was, and then I forgot what it was. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. That's why I was like, okay, I gotta jump
me to
in.
break the rhythm.
I gotta jump in. All right, we did it, y'all. We listened to "Dear Love, a Beautiful Discord" by American rock band The Devil Wears Prada. So, final flop or bop verdicts. Where are we landing, gentlemen? Josh, what order should we do this in?
Let's do me,
Okay.
Luke, Kylan.
Perfect. I love that.
Okay.
So as I mentioned before, this was never a big Prada record for me. It has some fun moments, but overall the songs kind of all blend together, and I feel like they aren't terribly memorable. We talked about it a little bit, like it's really fun, but like if I'm looking at it critically, it's like each of these songs could kind of be the same song. You can just put these parts into different parts or whatever. I didn't have as much, like I remember, obviously, I still have the CD that I bought in 2008. And I remember, like, I have like some fun memories of driving around, and it really takes me back, especially certain moments too. But overall, there wasn't a ton that I was like, oh wow, like this is really taking me back, and like I'm rediscovering all this great moments on the record that I loved that I'd kind of forgotten about. So there wasn't a ton of that for me. So it was fun going back into it, but it's not something that I haven't listened to it in, 10, 12 years. And other than maybe a lot longer down the line for just a fun nostalgia trip, I could probably put on a couple songs, but I don't know. I don't see much of like myself going back to this record as a whole. So obviously the good news is Prada gets a lot better and quickly too. Like by the time the next year rolled around, Plagues came out, and then we'll get to it, Kylan.
We will? I thought this was
I don't know. Maybe. TBD. We'll see. But yeah, so I will say a flop, but a fun flop for me.
Wow. We're going to lose all of our scene kid cred.
It's true.
You're saying that Kylan brought this record, right? Not you. To the podcast.
It's a record that Kylan's talked about wanting to cover.
No, Josh makes all the decisions. I just make suggestions.
Make the decisions.
My hands are clean.
Yeah, no, it's just one that he's talked about before. So I was like, I feel like this would be a fun one that TJ would not want to talk about, and Kylan would have a lot of fun talking about.
For sure. All right, Hoog, what about you? Where do you land?
Okay, pretty similar to Josh. I think I am a big Devil Wears Prada fan. I love a lot of their music. A lot of the moments from this record are really cool. I think honestly, maybe Mike has some of his better vocal performances in terms of like metal screaming on this record than some of the other records that I really have a lot of fun listening to. But I get lost in some of the, a lot of the music sounds the same. I think you literally could cut, paste big sections of
Right.
one song and put them into another song, and no one would really ever know the difference.
Yeah, because it's all
For
kind
sure.
of same key, same tempo.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do a remix of this album,
That would be
and then know
hilarious.
it like you can't tell the difference.
No, literally, I would not know the difference, especially like that middle section where it kind of drags a little bit.
Right? Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I hate to flop it, and this is the first time I've flopped a record
Wow.
on CJN,
Oh
but
Wow.
I'm
Wow,
flopping
really?
it. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think so.
Gosh, Josh,
But
you're just
it's a flop that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed it, but I
Yeah,
do
it's
not
not a
think it is a good
begrudging
record.
flop.
I don't think you guys understand the flopper bop system.
It's subjective.
If
There
you-
is no system.
There is a system. It's very objective. Wow.
Which you will prove right now.
Yes, empirically. Everything is an instrumental. I don't know. Guys, what are we even doing here? If y'all are flopping Devil Wears Prada, like what?
Let's listen to
What?
Plagues.
You can't
then.
even
Come on.
talk because this is the
What are
only
we doing?
one.
What
You've
are we
listened
doing?
to two
guys?
things in their catalog, and you're talking about you're
No,
flopping
I've
Devil Wears
listened to
Prada.
Death
Who I've
Throne.
listened to two
and
albums of.
and I've listened to their cover of Sour Breath by Julian Baker.
Yeah, great song.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
You're up to like 12% of their catalog.
That
now,
gets a
I
bop.
guess. Yeah. You're gonna
Well, guys,
defend them
metalcore
as
is not
artists.
my thing. Okay,
Their
You
new
guys know
music
it
is
is.
not really metalcore, so maybe you should try it.
I don't have time for that. Over here breaking Tate news.
If I didn't listen to it in 2006, ain't got no time for that.
That's right. Here's the deal. I agree with both of y'all. I think you get kind of lost towards the end of this record. There is a lot of metalcore sameness. I can't do my boys dirty like that. my boys in
Why I saved you for last.
TDWP. What if I flopped it? Would this be our first triple flop of the year?
I think so.
That
To be
feels.
fair, we haven't covered many records.
That's true.
Been
a lot
too
of
busy
interviews.
doing interviews.
Off to a strong start.
Well, we've definitely triple flopped most of the interviews privately. So, but publicly, yeah, no, bops all around. Same as for this record. This is not a stone cold bop. I will say that it's a squishy bop. Much like the double bass drum fills on this record, the bop is very squishy.
Would you like, Kylan, would you like to use your triple pop to turn this into a triple pop? We get one a year. You can use
That's
your...
right. So, man, I forgot about this rule.
I forgot about that too. We haven't officially implemented it, but I just
So it's to
remembered it.
overrule two flops?
Yeah, you can pick where you override and make something a triple pop.
I'm so
we haven't gotten it all figured out yet, but we
Yeah.
talked about it.
Yeah, I don't remember this.
I'm so anxious using it so early in the
It's
beginning
pretty
of the
early.
year,
Yeah.
but I also have really bad impulse control. So I don't know. No, I'm not going
Hold it.
to.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep my scene cred and give this a squishy bop.
Okay.
So yeah, I can't believe y'all. I can't believe you got me all hyped up to talk about Devil Wears Prada and then
I had a
flopped
great
it.
time talking about it.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
fun.
dark TJ. That's like the most TJ thing you've ever said on this show.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
the
just need to say
conversation
this
is a bop.
conversation was a bop. Yep.
You know,
Well,
at the
I'm
end,
gonna
all we have are the memories of our conversations.
Yeah.
So
And the bops were the friends we made along the way. Yeah. Okay. So 2 flops and a bop. I don't feel great about it, but I think that's about where we're landing for like a debut metalcore record. From what I hear, the band gets a lot better after this, so I'm excited to dig into more of their discography.
can we force Kylan to do Plagues like in 2026?
Yeah.
You don't have to force me to do nothing, baby. I'll do it. I listened to Jesus Freak twice for the stupid
You
show.
did. Why? God.
I brought it both times.
Well,
That was his idea both times.
well, feel free to cut this part. But you know, Josh had asked me about doing the changing of times instead. And I was like, I really don't like that record.
Oh wow.
So that would have been a hard, you know, I would have had fun talking about it, but it was like, at least with this record, I'm going to have a good time hanging out and talking about it, like revisiting it. But changing in times, man, I've tried to go back to that record. I do not like it. I do not enjoy anything before Thrill and Chasing Safety.
Interesting.
Unfortunately.
When we have James Paul Wisner, the producer, on the show, I'll make sure to mention that to him. How much you hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the friends of the show really hates your work.
Here's his Instagram if you want to DM him, spew some hate messages. No, I thought about doing. I was like, man, what if we did like one of their first 2 records that are rough to listen to?
So
what
bad.
if we did one of those? Like, oh, it's under oath, but
I love Dallas Taylor, man, but any Dallas under oath is rough.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know what to do now.
I'm sorry. Do you feel betrayed, Kylan?
I do. There was
Kylan, it's okay, man.
There was no redemption nor salvation to be had. But it's okay.
You feel like you're probably in a gauntlet of solitude, being the only bop here.
100%. But really, like, I really want to dig into like how I feel about this record.
Say what again? Huh?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. I was just saying, I'm really excited to be able to defend this record against you guys.
Uno más vez en español, por favor.
Guys, did you know dogs can grow beards all over?
Only quesadilla.
All right. If you enjoyed this, we have more nonsense like it on our Patreon on patreon.com/ChurchNamesNowPodcast. And of course, from all of us here, the CJ and crew, may all your favorite bands stay together. Everything is an instrument.